Let's do it.
Hey, welcome back to the Positive Podcast. Glad you're tuning in. I get to have friends on my show, which I love it. And today we're going to bring Jami Langham on here in just a second. She's got this badass podcast. I can't wait to bring her on, talk to her about it. She got a coaching business. She's crushing it. All around badass mom. Oh my God, she's got so many things going on. But, I want to talk about real quick before I bring Mrs. Langham in, and then I'm going to hit her with the question right between the eyes. Sometimes, in the entrepreneur space, the coaching space, speaking space, a lot of times you're the only one on the mountain. You got no one to turn to, you got no one pushing you, got no one to talk to. Sometimes you're in, you might be in a tough spot. So my question to you, Mrs. Langham, with Jami Langham Coaching, Jami, what do you tell somebody that, man, is just in a funky spot that just cannot get out of it? What do you tell that person?
Well, that's a absolutely great question, Jeremy.
Thank you.
So I would say you tell that person that you really need to focus on everything going right in your life, because even when there are many, many things going wrong, and every time you turn, you feel like just more and more is getting piled, and there's loads of crap coming down. And that if you focus on what's good in your life, and if you really think about it, you have way more good going on in your life than bad.
What do you think about delegation? Because delegating is one of the most important things that I've learned throughout my career as a podcast host, speaker, sales manager, parent, all this good stuff. How do you, because I know you've got so many things going on with the coaching business. I know that's blowing up. The podcast is just absolutely crushing it. No pun intended, pun intended. And we're going to talk about that here in just a second. But I mean, like, what do you tell somebody? Because like I said, again, you're a mother of three incredible young men, unbelievable husband, you're working a jillion hours at a job, and you're still doing your podcast, you're still coaching people. Like, how do you, I guess, how do you manage all that? Like, where do you find the time? And what do you tell somebody that maybe this other mother out there, this other, another woman out there that's like, man, I want what Jami has. Like, I've got this job. I got all these things going on. I'm just overwhelmed. Like, Jami, how do you do it all? Like, do you delegate? Do you make checklists? Like, what do you do to make yourself so organized?
So I am a recovering control freak. So we'll just put that out there. I like to say I'm
Okay.
in recovery because I'm not fully the best at delegating. But I get super organized. Like, I plan everything. I plan before I get out of bed in the morning. I have planned out like what my day is going to be, what my steps are going to be, how I'm going to get everything. I have to plan ahead. I am not a person, I'm not very good at spontaneous because I am so busy. I do need to know like what's going to happen on this day, this day, this day. And then I know what's going down. So if I can plan my dinners for the family. I can, this Friday I'm going on a field trip with my son, and I keep saying, what time do I have to be there? And he keeps saying, I don't know, mom. I don't know, mom. No, honey, you don't understand. I have to know because I have to have everything planned. So I plan out everything. I know what I'm going to be eating for lunch, dinner. I know what I'm going to wear before I get out of bed. Planning is the biggest thing. I am a huge list person. I like lists. There's nothing more satisfying than marking something off of a list. And I think it all boils down to priorities too. Like, I'm not the biggest TV watcher. So where someone might be spending some time watching a lot of TV, that's not really my jam. So I would spend that time working on my business, working on my coaching business. Much to your dismay, Jeremy, I fit my podcast in on my drive to work. I know that just drives you absolutely crazy because of the sound quality may not be 100%, but right now at this season in my life, done is my perfect, where before I had to have everything perfect. So
Yeah.
I would do nothing.
Well, I think one of the most important things, again, at the end of the day, is getting your message out. And it's just so, so important. Real quick, before I get into the next question, I want to talk to you about your day. Like, I love it, asking super successful people about their day. What time do you start? How do you bookend your day? What time do you get up? What do you do in the morning? Is there some affirmations in there? Like, how do you get your mind right for the day? And then how do you end your day? What time do you go to bed?
Okay, so my alarm goes off between 4:30 and 4:40 in the morning. Kind of depends on the day. I like to work out at exactly 5:30, but I like to get myself like awake. That's when I will think through my day, think about what I have going on. I think about things that I'm grateful for. I think about literally every step of how my day is going to go. And depending on the season, like I love to learn. So maybe I love the human brain fascinates me. So I may read some articles on psychology or the brain or a book, whatever, whatever it is I'm doing at the time. I take a little bit of time in there. I go down, I work out at 5:30. Depending on the program I'm doing, I'm done about 6 to 6:10. I get ready. I get my 14-year-old, I pack his lunch every single day. He has a hot lunch every day. And then I am out the door by 7:10. I drive to work. I record my podcast
Heck yeah.
on my way to work.
Get it, girl.
You bet. And because you know what, that is when I can do it. So for right now in this season, that's when it works, and that's when I'm going to do it. So then I get to work. I do my whole day. Typically for lunch, I try really hard to maybe work on something for my business at lunch. That doesn't always happen, but it's a goal. I do try to get something in. I can't always leave. On the way home, a lot of times I throw stuff in the crock pot before I leave. I get home and I come in my office here, and I will try to work on my business a little bit. And I go to bed. Sometimes I have a conversation with my husband in between there too. Sometimes, we try
Oh
to,
yeah, forgot about that guy, right?
yeah, pass in the hallway, say, hey, how you doing? And then I try to go to bed by 9:30 is when I try to go to bed by. I used to be a 4 or 5 hour night girl, and the older I get, the more I realize how much sleep is important. I used to brag that I could go on such short, but it wasn't smart.
Yeah, it's that hustle and grind thing, and sleep is so important. It just allows the brain to reheal itself from all the stresses throughout the day, and allows your body to become back to normal, I guess, after a long day of working and stress. There's a lot of things going on, so sleep to me, as you well know, is very, very important to me. Um, One of the things that I respect most about you, again, is obviously Gary Vee said best the other day. He was talking about people hustling and grinding, and the question that he asked was, are you really hustling and grinding, or are you waking up at 3 a.m. to tell everybody on Instagram and Twitter how you woke up so early? Then you're watching 5 hours of YouTube videos as well as playing some video games, but you're crushing it, right? But obviously that's why I asked you that question about your whole day. You're crushing your day. It's one of the things I love about your podcast. It's very authentic, it's very real, and it's very open, and I love the tone and the pace of it. My question to you now is, obviously podcasts change throughout time, and my podcast has changed quite a bit as well. Where do you see your podcast? I guess, where's your podcast now? Where do you see it in 2 to 3 years? And more importantly, along those lines, let's talk about that avatar. Who is your go-to person when you're talking to that person in your podcast? What does that person look like? And go through all that together.
So my podcast is called Crush Your Day. And basically, when I am talking usually I'm talking to a woman. I'm talking to the woman whose maybe confidence isn't where it should be. Maybe she's insecure. Maybe she, doesn't realize her potential. We truly can have anything in this world. And these are struggles that I run through too. The world views me as super, super successful. I have had a very successful career. I have done well financially. But sometimes I will have limiting or thoughts that do not serve me. Now, I have through the years done the work and learned how to change those. And I do affirmations. My affirmation is I am smart, I am strong, I am confident, and I am beautiful. I tell myself that like before I'm going to do something that may feel challenging to me, or if I'm going through some, maybe not the best season in life, or where, life is just handing me lemons, and it hands me a rotten lemon too. And I got to try to figure out how to put some sugar in it to make some lemonade. So that's the person I'm talking to. I'm talking to the woman who isn't going to go to the party because she feels fat. I'm talking to the woman who isn't going to launch her business because she thinks people are going to judge her. I'm talking to the person who just doesn't believe she's worth anything. And I'm here to tell you, yes, you are. You were put on this earth for something special, and you just have to believe it first.
One of my biggest takeaways from that is, and I think this is so key with anything that we're doing, and this is for everybody listening around the universe, the galaxy, and all the different planets we haven't figured out yet. But all the aliens, everybody listening to this podcast, it's a matter of taking action, and that's really what it boils down to. And again, I love how, you said I record my podcast in the morning on the way to work. Yeah, the sound's not the best. Yeah, it may not be the best place to do it, but done is the new perfect, and it's just taking action. And I try and tell my coaching clients, hey, if we stop where we are right now and look where we were a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, and all the action that we've taken, the small steps, the steps backwards, the step forwards, and man, look how far we've come in such a short period of time. And then imagine where this is going to go in another year from now, or 2 years from now, or 4 years, 10 years, whatever the case is. But the biggest thing, again, is taking that action. And that's what I love about your podcast, is that it is very, very consistent. It's in the morning, or I listen to it in the morning, but it's action. It's continually to do something. When you're not feeling the best thing I've always done is I do a podcast. It allows me to get all the stresses of my day off, but it also just makes me feel better that I got something done. It's funny. I just got done doing my laundry, and I've had a really long day today. And I said to my kids, I said, you know what? I just don't feel like doing the laundry tonight. And I sat there and I thought to myself for 30 seconds, what kind of example am I setting for my kids, where I don't feel like doing something? So I'll just do it tomorrow. And I said, you know what? Damn it. I'm going to do it right freaking now. And now that it's done, it's almost done, but I've taken action. I just feel better. Life is so much better about just doing something, taking action. And that's why I love the name of your podcast, Crush Your Day. I've been really working with my clients also one-on-one, and this is so important. You've talked about this too, and I'm not trying to make this about me, but I heard this quote from, I think it might've been John Lee Dumas. I don't remember. So sorry if I'm giving respect to him, it should be someone else's, but it was win tomorrow today. And I love that. I love just that, how smart it is. I actually took that, wrote that down, and stuck that on my refrigerator. Win tomorrow today. And so I constantly think about that. So when I'm going to bed, how am I going to win tomorrow today? Just those checklists you talked about. It's going to bed early. It's not going out and partying all night. It's waking up and understanding when you go to bed grateful and you wake up with an attitude of gratitude, and you know you're going to crush the day. And no matter what's going to happen, man, today's going to be shitty. Oh gosh, I'm dreading going to work. Or, hey, I don't feel like doing the laundry. When you take action, you do these things, and you think about what you got to get done for tomorrow, man, it just makes tomorrow so much easier, no matter what the world throws at you. So again, that's why I love you, Jamie.
I love you back. Well, one of the things that I preach about a lot on the podcast is I say, we're just going to win moments. Let's just win moments. Let's take each moment as it comes, and you're going to win some and you're going to lose some, but that doesn't make you a failure. It just means maybe you failed at a moment. It doesn't mean anything than that. Then, hey, maybe I didn't do that exactly how I had planned, but I'm going to win the next moment, because those little moments add up to huge results.
They absolutely do. And that's what I just, the more and more I think about it, the little things going on with my podcast, and the things the momentum, and just every day winning, just trying to get these little bitty wins, just trying to build on something. And it's just amazing, because I just think about all those people out there that I guess the first part, you got to get started, right? I mean, and you obviously started your podcast and got that rolling.
400
But it's just,
what's 400 that? 400 times I started it before I finally decided that done was the new perfect. Yes.
But that's part of this news. That's part of your story. That's part of everyone else out there around the world having these exact same things about, man, I want to do this, but I will next week, and next week becomes never. We've got to take action. And that's what, again, when you're going through tough times, when you're struggling, I mean, this isn't working, at least you're doing something. At least you're winning. At least you're taking action, and you're kicking the ball down the field, and eventually you're going to score a touchdown. Jamie, have you ever read the book, Good Leaders Ask Great Questions?
I have.
Well, John Maxwell, in that book, he's got 7 questions in it. I love going over all my guests on my show. Are you ready for them, Mrs. Langham?
Let's do it. Bring it on.
Question number 1 for Jami Langham, jamilanghamcoaching.com. Jamie, what is the greatest lesson you've ever learned?
I would say the greatest lesson I ever learned was that I have no limits. I really, if I set my mind to something, um, I can do it. I was very blessed to have a mom who never made me feel like I couldn't do anything. Um, I I think that probably is the greatest lesson because I have um, that's what has allowed me to just like launch the podcast. I mean, I truly believe that if I want to do something, I can do it.
Let me ask you this. This is interesting when you were saying that, because this happens to me quite often. I feel like, hey, I've got parents that told me I could do absolutely anything. I tell my kids that they can absolutely do anything. I mean, they're the best, they're the smartest, or the brightest. But sometimes I don't believe my own bullshit. I understand it and I can talk about it and I can be
Yeah.
about it and I can tell everybody else. And my parents have told me I can do it all. And then I tell my kids I can do it all, but I get caught in the middle. I know there's a lot of people out there listening to right now. Like, walk me through that mindset. What would you tell somebody like that?
So I am human. So believe it or not, I am. So those thoughts pop up into my head too, but not initially. Like I truly believe that I was put on this earth to help people. So that is my main reason for doing all of the crazy. And so those thoughts do pop into my head that you're full of shit on occasion. But then I review all of the things that I have done in my life and how successful I have been. And like, as you know, I'm in a very male dominated world and I have been very successful in that male dominated world. And so I think back of my past wins and give myself the evidence that proves that thought to be true.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Total sense. Question number two for Jamie Langham is, Jamie, what are you learning now?
Well, as a matter of fact, right now, I just finished a book, but you're probably going to ask me about books too. But I am the brain. The brain totally fascinates me.
Okay.
So I am doing some psychology studying and reading just about how the brain works and thoughts. Thoughts are our thoughts basically shape our entire life because they create feelings in our body and then those feelings create us to do a certain action and that action truly is what puts you that's the results that you have in your life right now.
I love books about the brain too. I think that's one of the most fascinating things. That's why I take my mushroom extract. I take my lion's mane as much as I can to rebuild those neural pathways that allows me to kick old habits and become the better version of myself. And hey, if you're out there listening, then check out mushrooms. Mushrooms are so dope. And one of these days, I had what is his name from Behold Retreats? It was shoot, what's his name? Jonathan DePotter. If you guys haven't heard his show, go back and listen to that show. We talked a lot about the brain and about building those neural pathways through ayahuasca and psilocybin. It
Oh
was
yeah, I did listen to
fascinating.
that. Yeah, I listened to that episode.
Yeah, and the brain is just so complicated, and the old saying that we know that I think we use 10% of our brain, and who knows what the other 90% is for. But it's super
It's
super
to lie
fascinating.
to I would say it's to lie to us. It's to fill our head with all these lies about how we can't do something. The stories that we conjure up in our head are never anywhere as bad as what like the true reality of something actually ends up being. So
Yeah, and that's why we don't go for our goals and dreams because our brain is programmed to protect us.
practice.
Don't go fail. You don't want to try this because it won't work. You're not good enough, and it's really all trying to protect us. And most of the time, that's bullshit. So we got to get comfortable being uncomfortable, Mrs. Langham, and we're doing a pretty good job of that doing this show today. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, considering.
Question number three is, how has failure shaped your life?
How is failure? So
Yeah.
it's funny. I know everybody always talks about like I don't look at them as failures. I look at them as lessons. And I honestly, I've had a lot of businesses over the years. I've tried a lot of different things over the years, and some of them I've enjoyed, some of them I'm really well at, and some of them I haven't. But every single one of those businesses or paths that I went down, I learned a little bit of something from them, and it's made me the person I am today. And um, I think that I'm a better person because I tried it. Because again, I have this belief that I could do anything. So I really don't look at them as failures. I know that's so cliche, but I really do just look at them as, okay, that was a stepping stone, and I needed to learn that in order to go on to the next chapter of my life.
Failures allow us to be the best version of ourselves possible, because I thought the failures,
Failures, yes.
yeah, we don't ever get any better, we don't evolve, and so it allows us to be the best version of ourselves. And after a failure, you're actually better off than what you were before the failure happened. And that's, I know it's very, very difficult for people out there to understand that. Jeremy, I failed at this, I got fired, I did this job, I did this, I went for my goals and dreams and failed. But all the stuff you learned and becoming that better version of yourself right now than what you were before, sometimes it's tough to take, but it's reality. You are a better person by far after the failures. Question number 4 from Mrs. Jami Langham, Crush Your Day podcast. Jamie, who do you know that I should know?
See, this one's always tough for me because you're such a more out in the world person than I am, and we know all the same people. So that one is really, really tough for me. Um,
The last time you said your grandmother.
I would still agree with that because she's amazing. She's 96. She does crossword puzzles every single day of her life, and she goes through those like a book a week. She keeps herself smart. She keeps herself like cognitively sharp. She could sit here. She could do your podcast. I'm sure she could tell you
She
a
probably could.
story or two. Yeah. So I'm going to go with my grandma again. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you get to meet her when you were at the um,
I don't know.
grade and graduation party?
I don't think so.
She was the 96-year-old woman here. She was the one running around like doing everything
Oh, yeah.
at 96. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. You think about someone at 96 years old or years young that, I bet if I asked her, do you give a shit about what other people think about you? And I guarantee you she's going to say no, because there
Yeah.
comes to a point in your life, like you're like, it's almost a lesson that you could learn a lot earlier in your life, but most of us don't figure that out until, and again, no disrespect, she's coming to the end and we're more like we're in the middle. And
Right. Yeah.
so why can't we figure that out earlier in life, that who gives a shit what other people think? I mean, as long as we're doing what we are passionate about, what we love, what we do, it doesn't matter other people's opinions. That's another thing with, how has failure shaped your life with people. When I started my show, people thinking I was crazy, it was nuts. So why are you doing this? Do you need money? Do you need help? Or, all this stuff. But I never really gave a shit. And now it's to the point that I really don't give a shit. But I think that'd be a great lesson for anybody to learn, no matter where they are in life, how old they are. Other people's opinions doesn't define who you are. And when you are crystal clear with that vision and understand you're coming from a place of love and of service, and that you want to help people, it shouldn't matter what anybody else thinks. Now I know it does. I know it's easier said than done. I get that. But at the end of the day, when you're 96 years old, you don't really give a shit anymore. And that's a great lesson to learn as well, that we should probably have that thought process earlier in our lives instead of towards the end of our lives. So not to be, again,
I
not
would
to bring your
agree.
grandmother in on this.
And well, I would agree. And I want to piggyback off of that. So something that I talk about on my podcast is, we get all so worried about what people think, and we're all worried about what they're going to think of us. And, are they going to think I'm dumb, whatever. I've kind of come to the conclusion that's almost a smidge narcissistic. Like, I don't think they think about me as much as I think they do. Like,
That's a good point too.
I really when I walk in a room, does somebody really does the whole room look at me and say, oh my gosh, well, she, looks like she gained 5 pounds. Oh, she thinks she's
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna bet no. So I try now, again, I am human and those thoughts do pop into my head still, but usually
Sure.
I replace it with that one. Jamie, don't be ridiculous. No one cares as much as
Yeah.
you think
Right.
they do. So,
Yeah.
and I think that's what finally made me decide to go ahead and launch the podcast, because I'm like, I don't think anybody cares as much as I think they do.
Right.
And the outreach of people like telling me, thank you so much for doing this. These are thoughts that go through our head.
Exactly.
I thought I was alone. It's been amazing.
Question number 5 for Jami Langham. Jami, what have you read that I should read?
Well, I just got done reading Believe It. It's Jamie Kern Lima, I think is her name. She started It Cosmetics. And that was a fantastic book. But I really would like you to read Soundtracks by John Acuff. Have you read that yet? Because I know I told you about it.
I have not. I know I've heard of John Acuff. I've not read that book.
He's great. Not only is it super insightful, but you know, I'm an audiobook because I have a 45-minute commute each way. So I do a lot of audiobooks, but he's funny and his audiobook is fantastic. So I would recommend that you read that book. Awesome.
You know, when you go to, as long as I've done this show now, with, you know, however many hundreds of people I've had on here asking that question, it's very rare I get the same answer. And it goes to show you, if we go back to what we were talking about earlier about taking action, if there's something you want to learn about, or if you want to get your mindset right, you just have to take action and just search anything. I mean, there are so many books out there. Buy my book. How about that? The Positive Side, How I Overcame Bullying, Bankruptcy, and a Bad Attitude and Found My True Identity. Go out and get that. That's a cheap plug, but go over to Amazon and grab that book. It's cheap. You'll love it. I promise you. And I'll love it too. But again, at the same time, it's important because, hey, if you want to find out anything, if you want to learn how to be better at YouTube, you want to get your mindset right, you want to just learn about history, there's so many books out there, and it's just, you know, it's all excuses why we don't go do it. So again, take action and you can become a better person for sure. Question number 6 is, what have you done that I should do?
Jeremy, I'm so boring. Oh goodness. Did you do a disclaimer that I didn't know I was going to be in this podcast tonight, so that like I didn't even have any time to prepare?
Nope. No chance.
He actually, guys, he's helping me out because I had been in a smidge of a funk. So he's actually
This is so good.
He's trying to pull me out of a little funk, and it's working.
So good.
What have I done that you should do? Well, have you ever gone to the Atlantis?
Gone to the Atlantis? I have no, I have not.
I think you should pack your kids up. I think you need
Jamaica?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, Jamaica. Yeah, right? Jamaica? I think it's in Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Because it was in the Bahamas, right? Is it the Bahamas? Anyways,
I'm sure I can find it.
You need to go. Your kids would absolutely freaking love it. There's like all these caves, and there's when you're walking these paths, there's you know, like fish everywhere. You go down in these caves and you can see fish tanks, and then you can go down a slide into like a shark tank. It's just really fun. So there you go. It's not anything daredevilish, but
No.
I would strongly recommend that you do that.
Well, I've never been told that one. So again, I love the answer. It's someplace I definitely need to go, and I would love to go. So I will add that to the list for sure. Question number 7, Mrs. Langham.
Yes.
How can I add value to you?
Well, first of all, and I know because I listened to more than maybe one of your podcasts that a lot of people say this, and it's you like a different answer, but you already do add value to me. Like just by you texting me and saying, get on my podcast right now because you knew I was having a tough day, I would say that you add plenty of value. So my question back.
Go ahead. Yes.
How can I add value to you?
How can you add value to me? That's a very good question. I don't know where you got that question from. It's very good though.
One that I came up with.
How can you add value to me? Well, you know, Mrs. Langham, I would just one of the things that you do for me that I really really respect is there's never any judgment, and I think that's a very very strong characteristic of a great friendship because you know we're far from perfect. And sometimes, you know, when you have friends or any kind of acquaintances or relationships, you're always and again, I'm saying this like the quote unquote you, like talk about the world, you always are concerned or worried about what a friend or someone else will think. One of the things that you've always done with me, and I've never been concerned or worried to tell you anything, and you've never judged me. You've always supported me. And that's, the friendships like that are very, very important. And I would tell anybody out there that, if you have a friend like that, cherish that friendship and thank them, because there's not a lot of them like that, I could call you anytime and any day of the week and just tell you exactly what I think. And it's not that you always have my back, which some you do, but even when you don't, you have a way of telling me that, Jeremy, you suck. And I need that too. So it's those continued friendships. So I would just, hey, add value to me, just continue to always be there for me. And I know you will. So that's it.
Yes, I will.
Mrs. Langham, tell the universe where they can find you.
Well, they can find me. I'm super, super, crazy, weird. I'm just Jami Langham on Facebook. So you can find
so
me.
Wild.
Oh, woo, I'm really out there. And then apparently Jami Langham was taken on Instagram. So I'm Langham Jami on Instagram. I like to switch it up. And then you can email me at jamilanghamcoaching@gmail.com, which Jami is spelled a little odd. It's JamiLangham. So yeah, they can reach out to me there. And I am still in the process of, the one thing I think I am going to delegate, because I did take on my own website. I don't know that I'm qualified for that, nor I could probably figure it out if I really wanted to, but I don't think I want to use my brain with the bandwidth of my brain for that. So I think I'm going to delegate that.
Delegate the hell out of it, because it's just not worth it. Your time is very, very valuable. And when you break your time down per hour with family and friends and all the other stuff you got to get done throughout the day, it's just not worth it. So delegate that. If you get anybody out there listening to this podcast that wants to help Jami with your website, reach out to jamilanghamcoaching.com. The other thing that you want to reach out to Jami with is that, one of the things she has the biggest impact on is helping women find their confidence. And I think that's one of the biggest things. And it doesn't matter what kind of industry you're in, what you're struggling with, but a lot of times with women, you have so many things going on. One of the hardest things is to have that confidence, to whether it's in a male dominated, business or business or field of work, or in relationships, or really anything. And that's one of the things that Jami does very, very well, is she shows women how to have that confidence. And hey, if you're a guy, that reach out to Jami's going to help you. Obviously, she's by far one of my best friends of all time, so she'll be able to help you as well. But I think for all the women out there, that who do I turn to that's juggling all these things in my life that can give me this confidence to still go after my goals and dreams? It's jamilanghamcoaching@gmail.com. So reach out to Jami. She's thebomb.com. If you love this episode, make sure you like it and share it. It's going to be everywhere. Big favor, if you're still listening to the show, which I hope to God you are, run over to the YouTube channel and subscribe to the Positive Side Podcast on YouTube. It's so important. There's all these videos that are on there, and there's just a shit ton of other interviews on there. Great interviews. You'll learn a ton. So do that for me. Let me know you're listening. Send me those emails, jeremy@jeremytodd.com. And the coolest thing ever, make sure you get signed up. I'm going to show you how to have the best second half of the year of your life. It's going to be a free class Zoom call that I'm going to do on June 15th. You're going to absolutely love it, and I guarantee it. You will crush the rest of the year. So make sure you reach out there as well. I've said it on every single episode, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. You've got greatness within. Like always, this is the Positive Side.